Please don't forget to subscribe and follow my channel for new contents. Thank you so much. Thái Nguyễn xin mến kính chào quý vị và các bạn. Trở lại với phần 3 trong cái cuộc trò chuyện và là phần 2 trong cái buổi triển lãm cùng với hai người giáo sư ngồi kế bên Thái, hai người đẹp là Anne-Marie và Martina, là hai giáo sư rất giỏi và có một cái sự mà nghiên cứu rất là chi tiết về cái triển lãm The áo dài in a time of war. Và trong cái phần 3 cái cuộc trò chuyện ngày hôm nay là sẽ nói về phần 2 trong cái buổi triển lãm là về cái Republic of Vietnam là từ năm 1954 cho tới 1975, Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Một cái thời, cái này là mình nói trước khi mà Thái Nguyễn vô cái câu chuyện với Anne-Marie và Martina thì là cái thời này là cũng một cái thời rất là đẹp, phải không? Cũng có những cái mình sẽ có những cái câu chuyện áo dài rất là hay, mà trong cái phần này đó phải nói là có thể là cái phần dài nhất trong tất cả cái cuộc nói chuyện của mình. Thì bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu với ai trước nè? Bánh tô tì đi.
That's okay, I'll follow the sword first.
Okay.
The time of the Republic is a fascinating one in terms of aesthetic design.
Yes.
And in terms of style. And so this is basically Vietnam emerges from the colonial period. The Republic of Vietnam, this is the period after the Geneva Conventions in which Vietnam was split between North and South, right? North being the Democratic Republic of Vietnam under Ho Chi Minh. The South is the Republic of Vietnam, which was officially founded in 1955, and the first president being President Ngo Dinh Diem. This period of the Southern Republic is actually a really fascinating one in terms of aesthetics and design. And this is basically a Vietnam emerging from the colonial period. There is a conscious effort on the part of Vietnamese designers and architects and artists to really kind of put forward what a kind of mid-century modern Vietnam aesthetic would look like, right? So in this time period, you had the building of Independence Palace in a sort of new mid-century modern style, right? And of course, we're going to talk about the áo dài of Madame Ngo Dinh Nhu, which itself is a kind of modernist, like fashion-forward aesthetic that is supposed to portray Vietnam as a new modern post-colonial nation.
Yeah.
And unlike in the Northern Democratic Republic of Vietnam, where you had the Communist Party merging very strongly in the post-colonial period, in the South, in the Republic of Vietnam, the content of what nationalism should be for that republic was something that was still being debated. It is clearly anti-communist, but what is the content? What does this nation look like? And so that's why I find it particularly interesting to grapple with that question aesthetically. What are people going to wear? What are their houses going to look like? What are they going to consume? And then ultimately, what are the politics of the Republic of Vietnam during this period? Should we maybe start to talk about some of the two key figures that we focus on?
I want to know a little bit more in terms of like the two key figures we were thinking. You were talking about Madame Nhu and then Madame Thiệu,
yes.
right? Thì Madame Nhu là bắt đầu là từ năm What year?
55.
55. So right after the Geneva Accords, Ngo Dinh Diem is the prime minister
Okay.
with Bao Dai, former emperor, who abdicated in 1945 to Ho Chi Minh. He is the head of state. But then there is an election for president of the new republic, and Ngo Dinh Diem wins with 90-something% of the vote, or
Yeah, so
some super large margin.
Wow.
right. So this basically there's a referendum on whether or not Bao Dai is to stay as the head of state or he should be ousted. And actually, he was ousted in this referendum, and the Republic of Vietnam is founded with President Ngo Dinh Diem as the first president in 1955. And so the period. And so Ngo Dinh Diem actually brings his entire family on board as part of his new administration. He it really leans on the advice of his brother, Ngo Dinh Nhu, who is the head of the Can Lao Party, which is the sort of political arm of Diem's government. And his wife, Ngo Dinh Nhu's wife, is a woman by the name of Chen Lê Xuân. And she also steps into the limelight as the de facto first lady of South Vietnam. President Diem is unmarried, and so she steps in to host state dinners, visits by head of states, those kinds of things, and becomes a sort of visible part of the Diem government. So basically, the key thing to understand is, you know, in the Geneva period, Bao Dai is set up as a new independent southern state.
Got it.
He has a prime minister that is Ngo Dinh Diem. Diem ousts Bao Dai in a referendum,
Yeah.
and then sets up the Republic of Vietnam, which is founded in 1955.
Okay.
And then once he becomes president, he brings on board his family and puts them in various positions of power.
Okay.
So he leans on his younger brother, Ngo Dinh Nhu, who is the head of the Can Lao Party, which is the political arm of his government. Chen Lê Xuân is Madame Nhu, his brother's wife. She becomes de facto first lady. And his brother Ngo Dinh Nguyen becomes ambassador to various European countries, in particular the UK. His older brother Ngo Dinh Thuc, Archbishop Ngo Dinh Thuc, becomes the sort of ambassador to the Vatican. And his younger brother Ngo Dinh Cẩn becomes a kind of how is it, chieftain, or I don't know, warlord, or you know, like a kind of he has like a kind of fiefdom in central Vietnam,
Amazing.
where the family is from.
That's what a powerful family. So
Yes.
wait, that's that, and then she's kind of like Chen Lê Xuân, Madame Nhu is kind of like how it all started with this whole exhibition, right? As you mentioned in segment 1, we talked about. So in the front, we start from the front of the entrance. You get that yellow áo dài, vải gấm, with the thêu của cành trúc, bamboo. Why did we choose that yellow one to be the first one at the entrance? Because
Because of the Saturday Evening Post cover. We wanted to put in the same frame the garment that was being worn, the woman who was wearing it, what was happening at the time that she was wearing it. So what her actions were, what her words were, where she was, and how it was being perceived. And so having that garment on the cover of Saturday Evening Post, an image that would be familiar to many viewers, it would kind of bring them in. And those who aren't familiar with it, they'll still see it's a cover of a U.S. magazine.
Yes.
This is an important figure.
what year was that?
1963.
1963. Now we're in 2025. How many years has it been?
62.
62 years,
Yes.
and that áo dài is still standing
Yeah.
out there. What was the condition?
It was in excellent condition.
Excellent.
Yeah. And we took a very light hand with the conservation because we wanted to make sure people can see these as lived garments for the reasons I was just saying. We want to bring you into what it was like to be wearing that garment
Yes.
and to imagine the scene, the context at the time. So you see things like small holes from brooches, Madame Yu often wore a stole, a fur stole. So there are some fibers that were on the garments. There are perspiration stains. There are places where you can see the fabric was stressed. So not quite
It
torn,
was vải
but
gấm.
just-
Vải gấm, right?
Tơ tằm.
Tơ tằm.
Tơ tằm.
Yeah.
Lụa tơ
Tơ
tằm.
tằm.
Yeah.
Thì
So
cái
it's-
vải đó nó dễ bị rượng.
Yeah, đúng rồi. Yeah, so it's, and yet it has held up extremely well. Minor insect damage, a couple of the garments, particularly the ones with higher collars, some of the stay in the back needed to be repaired, but really they were in excellent shape. The families clearly took very good care of these
The
objects.
closure was nút bấm, nút bóp.
Nút bấm.
The button, right?
Yeah.
Nó là nút bóp. Và is that the only cover of her wearing áo dài, or there are other
No.
covers?
Many covers.
Many.
She has many covers.
Yes.
She was on the cover of Time magazine.
Yep.
She was on the cover of Life magazine.
Yep.
She was on the cover of Paris Match.
Yes.
She was on the cover. She was all
Figaro.
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we chose this one, and this one, the yellow áo dài, cái cổ là cái cổ thuyền, và nó hơi VV,
V-neck.
Yeah.
right? Cái lá trúc is embroidery, là thêu thêu bằng tay.
Yes.
Thì Thái nghĩ cái thời đó là chắc chưa có thêu bằng máy đâu, và cái thêu bằng máy chưa đâu.
Not here.
Yeah.
Not in this context.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if it was a first lady áo dài, it would have been hand embroidered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mà hình như là mà Tina có kể Thái một cái câu chuyện là với bà Nhu thì là cái áo dài là đã được thêu trước khi may, hay là may xong rồi mới thêu?
Cái đó thì cái đó thì mình không có rõ vì bà Nhu, nhưng mà mình rõ về bà Thiệu.
À,
Yes.
ok.
Yeah.
Rồi cái đó là
Yeah.
mình sẽ nói kế tiếp. Thì cái đó là cái bộ thứ nhất, là mình sẽ nói là cái bộ áo dài màu vàng, phải không? Xong rồi mình bây giờ nhiều lắm quý vị ơi. Ở phía sau quý vị thấy là một cái background vô cùng màu sắc rất là đẹp. Với tất cả những cái màu mà bà Nhu đã mặc, thì cái bộ đầu tiên á là mình sẽ nói là cái bộ áo dài vàng đó, và tất cả những bộ áo dài là bà Nhu mặc với quần trắng.
Trắng. Yes.
Tại vì á, cái bộ áo dài vàng là đang được trưng bày ở phía trước, cho nên quý vị sẽ không có thấy. Mình để như vậy á, thì để cho quý vị thấy rõ hơn. Đây là cái bộ áo dài của bà Nhu, cổ thuyền đây, và có thêu cành trúc này ha. Là lúc này là ở trong cái buổi này là bà mang bao tay. Cái tay đó thì là cái tay khoảng 3/4, 3/4 length.
Yep.
Bà có đeo cái chiếc lắc này nha quý vị. Và trên ngay cái cổ này là cái nút gài, là từ trên cổ gài xuống tới ngực rồi qua bên eo. Và ở đây là đeo một cái brooch. Ok. Và cái mái tóc, cái thời đó rất là đẹp. It's kind of like a beehive
Yes.
updo.
Yes.
Phải không?
Yeah.
Mà người Việt Nam lúc đó là hình như là tất cả người phụ nữ cái thời đó là khi mặc áo dài là đều có cái kiểu tóc đánh phồng lên vậy đó. Mà cái thời đó là mình có keo xịt tóc không ta?
Có.
Hay là mình đi chải tóc làm sao?
Có
hả?
phải trải ngược,
Đánh rối
đánh rối. rồi sau đấy là xịt keo tới khi là
cho nó cứng
dừng,
luôn.
cho cứng luôn á.
That's why we have the hairspray.
Giống y như là mũ bảo hiểm.
Và make up á, thì là mình cũng thấy là cái make up là giống như là eyeliner, phải không? Like that's her signature look.
Yes.
Cat eye.
Yes.
Và mình có biết là hình như mình có chia sẻ là cái chiều cao của bà sau khi mang guốc.
So when she was wearing shoes, she was about 5 feet tall.
Okay.
And she would wear about 2 to 3 inch heels. Not super high, not stilettos.
Yeah, not
but,
stiletto.
yeah.
So she was probably around sort of 4'10".
10. That's what, yeah.
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 Ok, rồi kế tiếp nha. Kế tiếp là mình sẽ nói về cái bộ áo dài xanh này. Cũng là lụa tơ tằm.
Yes.
Nhưng mà cái áo dài này á thì lại không có thêu gì hết. Mà cái này là không phải, trong đây thì để là mình không phải là cái áo original. No, cái áo là cái áo original,
Right, the
nhưng mà
pants are
không có cái quần.
Yes.
Là tất cả những cái áo này mà khi gia đình cho mình mượn á thì là chỉ có áo thôi, nhưng mà không có quần.
Không thì gia đình thì cho mình mượn vừa áo vừa quần,
Nhưng không có đủ.
thứ nhất là không đủ quần, thứ hai á, là quần là đủ mọi thứ màu hết.
Yeah.
Mà khi mình đi nghiên cứu cái lịch sử của những cái áo dài này và mình xem những cái ảnh của bà mặc những cái áo dài này á, thì bà luôn luôn là mặc với áo quần trắng hoặc là quần kèm.
Yeah.
Thì nghĩa là mình không
Đầu
có
những
thể
năm sao mươi như vậy.
Dạ, thì mình nghĩ là những cái quần màu á là quần của sau này.
Yeah.
Là giống như là theo cái cách mình nghĩ, khi mình đưa cho ai một cái bộ áo dài á, là mình không có đưa một cái áo, còn mình đưa nguyên bộ. Thì cho nên là sẽ có áo và quần, nhưng mà thôi bây giờ không biết có cái quần nào thôi để đưa miễn sao có quần là được rồi, phải không? Nhưng mà vì cái nghiên cứu của hai cô thì mới biết là chỉ là mặc quần trắng hay là quần kem.
Yeah.
Cho nên đó là khi mà trưng bày ở triển lãm này thì mình phải nhờ nhà thiết kế Sĩ Hoàng để may lại những cái quần đó.
Yes.
Nhưng mà có một cái chi tiết về những cái quần mà
Cái quần của bà Nhu á, có một cái chi tiết rất là đặc biệt. Thứ nhất á, là bà may cái lưng của cái quần á, thì may cái lưng quần á, thì nó rộng, how you say rộng, wide.
cái bản lưng đó, đúng rồi, cái bản lưng đó,
Cái bản lưng thì nó rộng,
nó cao,
thế thì là nó giống y như là
một cái dây nịt vậy đó.
cái dây nịt, giống như là Spanx. Spanx của năm 60.
Siết cái eo lại.
Yeah, with quilted stitching.
Wow.
And I think a little bit of interfacing,
Yes,
probably.
yes.
Yeah.
Ủi keo,
Yes.
cho nó cứng lên.
Yeah, đúng rồi.
Còn cái chi tiết đặc biệt nữa đó là tất cả cái quần của bà Nhu thời ấy đó là có 3 cái ly ở hai bên cái quần.
Giống như là kiểu dáng hơi giống quần tây hơn. Tại vì hồi xưa đó, giống như là quần trouser, giống như quần tây á. Tại hồi xưa hình như là có những cái áo dài của mình là có lúc mà mình mặc quần lưng thun cho nó thoải mái. Nhưng mà với Thái nghĩ là của bà Nhu là cái bản lưng nó giống như là quần trouser, quần tây mà xong rồi có xếp ly để cho thoải mái, phải không? Mà quần là quần ống thẳng.
Cái lưng quần á là để siết cái
eo.
eo lại thì chưa chắc là nó thoải mái.
Không, Thái nói là nó không thoải mái, tại vì hồi xưa nếu mà mặc áo dài là mình mặc quần lưng thun thì mới thoải mái, nhưng mà bà Nhu thì không có mặc quần lưng thun, bà mặc quần có cái bản lưng. Và thứ nhất nữa, thứ hai nữa là quần lưng thun á, nó rất là dễ bị tuột. Lỡ mình ngồi mình đứng dậy nó sẽ tuột, cho nên cái quần mà có bản lưng Thái nghĩ nó cũng là một cái phong cách để mà giữ cái quần cho nó chắc lại nữa. Yeah.
Mà có cái 3 cái ly đó thì theo truyền thống đó là bà Nhu luôn luôn sẽ có 3 cái ly đó, là tại vì bà là xuất thân từ hoàng tộc. Và mình không có thể định rõ là cái đó có thật hay không, nhưng mà theo
nghiên cứu thì
mình theo truyền thống người ta nói
Yeah.
thì là bà may quần như vậy là vì lý do là bà là xuất thân từ hoàng tộc.
Bây giờ mình cái bộ màu xanh này nè, thì có những cái chi tiết trong cái bộ màu xanh này mình muốn chia sẻ cho quý vị biết.
So although the garment is one solid color, it doesn't have the embroidery that some of the other garments have. The pattern woven into the luotatam is very subtle and very significant. So there are a number of different characters. The most interesting one to me was when I learned that there are the characters Vo Nai Huyen, which we could translate as "Isn't it too noisy?" And so it is a gentle reminder to stay calm and peaceful. I found that interesting because part of my research over the past year has been to look in archives in the United States and Vietnam and to find where she was wearing each of these garments and what was happening when she was wearing them. She was wearing this garment a lot during a trip to Europe and the United States in the fall of 1963, including during an interview when she accused junior U.S. officials stationed in Vietnam of being little soldiers of fortune who didn't know what was going on and were basically making a mess. And that was a comment that was seen as very offensive. It was timed as U.S. personnel were starting to lose their lives. In Vietnam, there were not official military personnel, but there were military advisors who were engaged in military endeavors, and you start to see a U.S. loss of life and the implication that they, again, this little soldiers of fortune comment was seen as insulting. So she's wearing a garment that is saying, moderate yourself, modulate, be calm, be peaceful, and her words are inciting people to be very angry at her. And so I like that juxtaposition of, she's not listening to her garment in that moment, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's amazing how the character in the so cái này chắc là cái này là mình phải nói là những cái họa tiết trong cái vải đi hả? Cái motif á,
Yes.
là cái Hán Việt hả? Cái chữ này là Hán Việt, phải không?
And then we have, some of Taoism's 8 treasures. We've got a gourd, we have a fan. We have the Chinese character Thaw, which is on a number of these garments woven into the brocade.
Và nếu mình xem cái detail của cái áo này đó thì là cái cổ là bắt đầu là cái cổ thuyền mà nó về, nhưng mà cái nút là nó ngay giữa, nó đi qua bên ngực và xong rồi xuống tới eo. Nhưng mà cái chi tiết rất là đặc biệt là cái tay dài, nhưng mà lại có cái nút, 2 cái nút bóp ở đây để cho nó ôm cái tay lại luôn. Nhưng mà ở phía trước ngay đây nè quý vị là lại có chữ V. Không.
So like a point sleeve.
Yeah. Mình có biết cái lý do tại sao không ta? Hay là một cái kiểu của bà muốn như vậy?
Cái đó là cái kiểu mà nhưng mà theo quan niệm của mình á, là họ là bà thích cái tay như vậy là tại vì cái V đó nó làm cái tay bà trông dài hơn.
Giống như nó đi xuống tới đây luôn vậy nè. Wow. Nó một cái chi tiết mà mình nhìn thật sự luôn quý vị, cái vấn đề là mình đi đến một cái triển lãm á, để là mình thấy được cái áo trước mặt của mình. Mình sẽ thấy được những cái chi tiết là mình không có nhìn vô hình, có thể mình sẽ không có biết đâu. Và mình sẽ không có thấy được cái họa tiết trên cái áo, và mình sẽ không có thấy được cái cut hoặc là cái nút nó như chỗ nào. Đó là theo một người thiết kế đó thì thấy nhìn vô những cái đó là thấy giống như là đưa ra cho mình biết bao nhiêu cái ý tưởng để có thể làm cái này cái kia, cho nên là it's fascinating. Mà cái màu này nha là cái màu xanh mà phải nói là Việt Nam mình hay nói là màu xanh hy vọng á. It's like it's hopeful. Và hiện bây giờ đó là cũng là một cái màu mà đại diện cho giống như là Vietnam Airlines, giống như là cái màu xanh của Vietnam Airlines. Yes. Wow.
Yeah. She also wore that garment to Mass, and so the long sleeve length was one that when she went to Mass, she typically wore longer sleeves. Yeah.
Anything else we want to say about this garment?
She wore it when she spoke to the Overseas Press Club in the United States, at
Yes.
the Waldorf Astoria in New York.
Yes.
And maybe I'll just note that we have all of these garments because they were the ones that were with her. When she left Vietnam in September of 1963, she went first to Belgrade for the meeting of the Interparliamentary Union. At that time, she was an elected member of the National Assembly in Vietnam, and so she led Vietnam's delegation to Belgrade. From there, she went to Rome, and then she went to Paris, and then she went to the United States, where she spent about a month touring the United States, giving a lot of talks at universities, to press clubs, and in other invited venues. And the whole reason for that tour was to present her side of what was going on in Vietnam, as you have internal turmoil happening because of what had started as Buddhist-led protests, but had then grown into general unrest. And the regime of President Diem is very tenuous at that time.
And she never returned home again.
Right.
So the reason why we have these garments is because they were brought, she chose them, she chose to bring them with her. Those are probably her favorites. And
Or it's like a month worth of áo dài.
A month's worth of áo dài, and then she brought them with her, and she never came home again.
Right.
So basically her wardrobe, this is her main wardrobe.
Well-
Everywhere she goes will be áo dài.
Although she was reported, I found in records in National Archives 2 in Saigon, that she apparently had something like 120 kilos of luggage with her.
100 something kilo.
120
It's like-
kilos.
That's a lot of áo dài.
Yeah. So that's, what is that, like about 260 pounds of luggage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
she,
So what happened to the rest?
One could only wonder.
Because these are light. These
as
are not
I-
heavy.
But as I documented, particularly where she was each day in the U.S., from around early October when she arrives, early mid-October, until she stays through mid-November. It is mostly these garments. So this is what she's wearing for her public appearances.
And all of these áo dài, how many do we have in this exhibition?
In the exhibition, we have
30 garments total.
Okay.
30.
For Madame Yu, we have to count actually.
Yeah.
2, 4,
One.
6,
Yeah.
8, we have 9. Yeah.
With the yellow.
And then 10 with the
Yeah.
10 in the,
Yes.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we got to 2.
Okay, wait. I want to go back to the first,
Okay.
the entrance one. And
Yes.
there's an important point to be made about the bamboo yellow
Yes.
aozai.
Yes.
Very important. Is that Madame Yu really loved and used the bamboo motif. And it's really important to note about the bamboo motif is that she wore them on occasions where she needed to make an appearance on behalf of the Republic.
Right.
And the bamboo motif is actually one of the key symbols on the presidential seal of President Ziem, as well as I think her personal
Yes.
seal as well. So the bamboo motif is important as a symbol of the Ziem government. And so what does bamboo mean? It means resilience, right? It means it grows everywhere. It means like it's very, very strong, but it's also very flexible and it's adaptable. So the idea of using bamboo as part of her aozai is to send a national message about, number one, the Republic of Vietnam, but then also about the Ziem government. And you can see this because she had bamboo motifs on a number of aozai in that period.
Right.
I personally, particularly myself, love the pattern, the motif of bamboo.
Yeah.
It's just so feminine, so elegant, and like you said, it's very kind of fragile, but yet very resilient. And it's to me that's the representation of Vietnam
Yeah.
till now. Yeah.
What I find interesting is that it's also a symbol that's associated with Confucian scholars, the kind of Confucian gentleman who has cultivated learning and is serving the nation or serving the community, and again has this characteristic of being upright and strong and yet flexible. So we have a woman in a symbolic role, unofficial first lady, performing certain ceremonial duties, but also being very involved in politics, taking on this symbol that maybe had a more masculine association. And so that's another theme we see in this exhibition,
Yes.
that in a new republic, symbols that had been associated with the emperor, symbols that had been associated with Confucianism in a masculine way, become symbols that are incorporated into the garments of powerful women.
Wow. We can go on and on with bamboo.
She loved it.
It's beautiful. Now we go to the next one, the one right behind me. It's the pink one.
Okay.
Cái này là cũng là vải tơ tằm.
Yes.
Và cái áo màu vàng đó thì hình như là mình không có cái tay nối. Cái tay nó có nối không ta? Cái áo vàng ở ngoài này nè. Có tay nối, có cái nối.
Dạ.
Cái áo xanh thì không có cái nối nè. Cái áo xanh thì cái tay không có nối.
Có chứ?
Cái áo xanh này là
Có.
oh yes có
Tổng cộng có.
có.
Dạ. Tất cả
Tất cả đều có cái
tất cả
nối.
áo dài của bạn. Yeah.
Tại vì nó là vẫn là một cái dáng của cái áo dài hồi xưa theo cái vải mà cái khổ nó nhỏ cho nên là phải nối.
Right.
Cái áo hồng này thì là cái họa tiết vẽ đó, họa tiết thêu là giống như là mây,
Yes.
phải không?
Vâng.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a garment that we have documentation of her wearing it in 1960
Okay.
for in the commemorations of Hai Ba Chung. There would be a military parade. The Women's Paramilitary Corps would participate. Two women representing the sisters on elephants, speeches, and all of that. And then there was usually some kind of fair, coupled with displays of women's abilities in pastry making, domestic arts of various kinds. There was the Baby of the Year contest, and Ban Yu would be giving out the prizes in these various contests. And so this was a garment that she was wearing in 1960 as she was doing that.
Tháng 3 có thể là ngày 8 tháng 3 không ta? Là ngày phụ nữ đó.
Yeah.
Thì bây giờ
Đúng
cái
rồi.
ngày đó cũng là một ngày lễ mà
Yeah.
người Việt Nam vẫn còn tổ chức những cái ngày đó
Yes.
như là tôn vinh phụ nữ.
Yes.
Right.
So the Chung Sisters and International Women's Day kind of coincided. So you'd have these celebrations at the same time.
Bây giờ mình trở lại là mình có biết là cái lần đầu tiên bà Nhu mặc cái áo dài cái cổ bà Nhu này không? Mình có cái information đó phải không ta?
Chúng tôi có trong quá trình nghiên cứu thì tìm những cái ảnh của bà Nhu mặc những cái áo dài, và khi mình đát những cái ảnh đó thì cái ảnh sớm nhất mà mình có của bà Nhu mặc áo dài cổ thuyền là từ năm 1958.
Yeah.
58.
58.
Mà mình nhớ cái áo đó, lần đầu tiên cái áo đó mình có biết cái áo đó là cái áo nào không? No? Do we have any photo for that?
We do.
We have the photo.
We have the photo.
So we looked through old issues of magazines, including Sang Nhoi Miền Nam, which had a lot of coverage of her, and so that's where we found.
Yeah.
Amazing.
1958.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yes. Or actually I'll send it to you and you could like
Yeah.
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 What I will say though is we noticed that this the pink garment has 3/4 sleeves.
Yes.
When she was wearing it in 1960, it had long sleeves. So it was modified.
Modified.
This
But we don't
garment-
know when.
We don't know when, but certainly before 1963, because we have photos of her oldest child, Lei Tui, who was with her on the tour of Europe and the United States. She was wearing this garment, and she appeared on the cover of the magazine Paris Match wearing it. It's also been let out. The back darts were let out.
So mother and daughter were sharing áo dài.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the sleeve modification was also probably made around that time. That's
So
but
it's like
I don't have further pictures
Yes.
to
But
document
it could be like a passed down kind of thing, like mother wore and then the daughter loved it and
Yeah.
I want to wear it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there any like specific message for this embroidery motif that we know of?
Well, it is a very common one in imperial garments as well as in sort of Chinese iconography. It is it's called auspicious clouds, right? Or
Yes.
what we call in Vietnamese tường vân.
Yes.
Yes. So tường vân is it's a motif that is often evoked. It's auspicious, so
Yeah.
it means good fortune, good
Right.
luck, and it's also beautiful too because it like follows it sort of curves with the body, and it's a common one. We see this not just in a number of Madame Ngu's áo dài, but also Madame Thieu later
Yes.
on as well.
Yeah.
You know, we see that. We see how the placements of the motif or the decorative embroidery, painting, it's kind of like forming, contouring the body. But to me, as a designer, and I follow this kind of placement because it's kind of like an S curve. It gives you an S curve for a woman.
Yes.
And it's also kind of like the S curve, the map of Vietnam. That's how I explain it when I say it to my customer.
Yeah.
So it's giving you that S curve.
Yes.
And it's very elegant, it's all elongated your body. And I think they see that. And I think as a younger generation, I kind of learned that from them. Obviously, you know, they started it and I follow.
And so the idea of when you have two countries to be representing the entire S curve, because that is an idea
Yeah.
that is out there. When I was doing research in the 1990s, I read newspaper articles that made that same reference, that it is the shape of the map of Vietnam.
Yeah.
So if you see it in the Ao Dai, what kind of statement is she making
Yep.
about the Republic
Yep.
as the rightful leader of
Yep.
the entire S curve?
Yep. We see that.
And also, as the historian, I also want to point out that we're now talking about S curves and you know,
Right.
and women's bodies and how to shape and elongate and, you know, highlight the female form. This is the 1960s,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
30 years ago in Lemur's time, this was considered scandalous.
Yes.
So we can see now the progression of attitudes
Yes.
about the Aozai and about women's bodies has transformed since that time.
However, this is also scandalous.
This is also scandalous.
You know, when I first started learning about Aoyai Banyu, the thing that I learned was collarbones.
Yeah.
Collarbones were being bared.
Yeah.
The necklines are actually pretty high.
Yes.
I've looked at all the photos. I don't see
You
her
don't see
collarbones.
it.
Yeah. By our standards, this is quite modest.
Right.
It's just more comfortable. Like she doesn't have to deal with the high collar, but it's actually very high. So when it comes to cổ bà nhu, theo mà Thái Nguyễn nói theo mà giải thích cho khách á, thì cái cổ bà nhu đó là từ cái chân cổ này nè, mình xuống
right
khoảng like 1 or 2 cm.
Yeah, not much.
Cái cổ thuyền á, nếu mà thật sự bây giờ người ta làm cổ thuyền này nó xuống tới đây lận, nó
Right.
xuống càng sâu, càng ngày nó càng sâu, you know? Càng ngày nó càng giống như là, you know?
Yeah.
So thật sự cái cổ này
Becomes
không
an
cao.
off the shoulder boat.
Off the
Yeah.
shoulder boat, like
Yes.
literally off the shoulder boat.
Yeah.
It's a wide boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was considered scandalous. And actually, Madame Yu's argument was that, you know, the Republic of Vietnam is in the South. The South is a tropical climate, it is hot.
Yeah.
And it makes sense,
Yeah.
right, to have the boat neck
Yeah.
in terms of temperature.
Yes. But then at the same time, it was very influenced by the European style, the Western style,
Yes.
with that neckline though. So she's the woman of like a modern woman who adapt style, global style. And that's why we have the cổ bà nhu. Yeah.
So one of the things that we had been trying to find for a long time was information on the tailor or tailors for
Yes.
these garments. We had a sense that first ladies tended to go to a very small number of tailors, maybe even had only one key tailor
Right.
who worked with them.
I'm surprised that they didn't have their in-house tailor. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Wouldn't it be like, well, don't they want to have that just to make áo dài for her only?
We actually don't know whether or not the tailors came to the presidential palace.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But they did patron some very exclusive tailors in Saigon at that time. So in Madame Yu's Áo Dài, we found a label
for the two that have the higher necks, because they have the higher necks, they have a label in the
Yes.
back.
Yes.
And that is Thuy Nga Tailor Shop.
Thuy Nga Da Cao.
Yes. Yeah. Which we didn't know much about. It
Yeah.
wasn't one that I'd seen featured in
Yeah.
magazine ads and things like that. But going to the address, because the address is also on the label, the family that is still there in that same property, that same house, and they described that their mom had been a tailor, and that yes, she had been Madame Yu's favorite tailor, and at some point, we presume in the late 1950s, given when she started wearing the boat neckline, she came to the tailor and said, "I would like a neckline like this dress that she had brought with her from Paris." So it literally was a French influenced
Yes.
look.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was another sort of more local context to this as well. The family, the tailor, the tailor is from Bien Hoa.
Yes.
And Madame Yu's father, his side hails from Bien Hoa. And so it was through that sort of, you know, homeland connection that Madame Yu
Cùng quê.
Cùng Quê came to trust Thuy Nga as her Áo Dài tailor. And these folks said that they had sewn over 100 Áo Dài for Madame Yu.
Wow. Because you know the process of getting measure and learning her body
Right.
is a very intimate process. So I would assume she would have someone she trusts, either have like that designated tailor for just her áo dài, or she will be, you know, they would have to close down and then have her come and then just do the fitting with just her, you know, because it's a very intimate setting. It has, and I think maybe I think that the idea is what you just told me is là cùng quê đó thì feel thoải mái hơn,
Yeah.
tin tưởng hơn. Chứ bây giờ mà lỡ mà bà Nhu mà đi ra ngoài chợ hay là qua một cái tiệm may nào rồi xong người ta sẽ đi đồn lên, you know, nếu mà là ngoài chợ là
Yes.
ủa bà Nhu mới may ở đây.
Yes, yes. Or they put a sign out front,
áo
right?
dài của bà Nhu, bye, you know.
We sew my
Yeah.
news outside.
Yes, you
Yeah.
know, thì
Yeah.
thì nó phải có một cái some sort of like that secret connection.
Yeah.
Discreet.
Discreet,
She needed somebody discreet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thúy Nga Shop thì bây giờ vẫn còn ở Việt Nam.
No.
No.
No, but the family has related the
Không
story.
còn cái tiệm may thôi.
Right,
But
exactly.
gia đình thì vẫn còn ở
Gia
đây.
đình
đúng
thì
rồi.
vẫn còn ở đấy.
Yeah.
Mà vẫn ở cái địa chỉ đấy.
Wow. But it's so fascinating. Hồi xưa giống như là it's also I think in Europe during this time was like couture houses, and on the label they will put the address so
Right.
people can come and find them. Right.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
we're like, nope, you can't come to see
Don't
me.
come.
Don't come.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was so excited that we did have the address because I had not been able to find anything. You had not been able to find anything
Yes.
looking
It's
through.
amazing.
There were no ads that I saw.
And they're still there.
The
They are
family,
still-
yes.
The family is
Yes.
still there.
Yeah.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, different profession, but yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, well, too bad that they didn't keep on going. But we can go another one where about Thích Lập, but Thích Lập, they made it. They made it. It's a journey for them.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to
We'll
that.
get to that.
Okay, next áo dài. This is another one with the bamboo, the cream one.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love it how we know that it's embroidery and certain the cream one we can see the wrinkle of the embroidery.
Yes.
Theo tại vì nó giật cái vải
Right,
lại.
exactly.
Nhưng mà cái áo hồng này thì mình không có thấy nhiều nha.
Right.
Cái embroidery của cái áo hồng này thì mình lại của cái này mình cũng không có thấy nhiều, cái này mình cũng không thấy nhiều. Thì có thể there's a difference by looking at it. I don't know. I'm just guessing that it could be one is hand done thì nó có thể nó rút nhiều hơn. One is already
So I think they are all hand done. If
They
you
all
look at the
hand done?
reverse side, the garments, there's machine stitching and hand finishing. So some of the tacking, the hemming, etc., that is hand, but the seaming is machine. The embroidery, if you look at the reverse side, it's all hand.
is all hand.
Yeah. I was surprised that there wasn't more puckering on a number of these
Yeah.
garments. Particularly one we'll get to that
Maybe.
is heavily embroidered.
Yeah.
Very little puckering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because of the material or is it because of the technique of the embroidery, right? Because
Yeah.
that orange one, I see, it looks like impeccable.
Right. I
Right?
think it's perhaps the size of the stitching.
The size of the stitching, yeah.
The stitches are quite small. And so that might not create the kind of tension that leads to the puckering.
Right. Bây giờ cái áo kem
Yeah.
này, I see stains,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Where did she wear this one to? Miền Nam, I see her in the miền Nam.
Yes. So this one she wore in 1962 to a graduation ceremony for the Women's Paramilitary Corps that she was instrumental in founding. And one of the things that, again, in my research, as I started, where is she wearing these garments? It also led me to look more into the Women's Paramilitary Corps and the vision that was behind that. So there are speeches in which Madame Yu makes it very clear that this is part of her vision of women's liberation, women's equality with men. That when they are seen as citizens fully capable of shedding blood on behalf of the nation, that's when women will achieve equality. So the Women's Paramilitary Corps also had beautiful uniforms. It was seen perhaps sometimes as a vanity project. And yet, when you read what her goals were for it, it was this vision of women as citizens of the modern Republic of Vietnam.
Only different than Lemire Cathung's vision of women in a modern Vietnam.
Right.
Right.
In this case, women are actually more equal. They will also shed blood, right, for the country.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas Lemire was about keeping women in their roles of mother and wife. Madame Yu thought the same. Women are still mothers and wives, but they can also pick up a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
They can also be trained to shoot the enemy. And the Women's Paramilitary Corps really emphasized that.
And as she gave speeches to the paramilitary corps trainees, she would often emphasize that this is difficult. This is stepping outside of women's customary roles and responsibilities. The training was still to be appropriate for them as women, and it was their being away from home was also to be handled appropriately. It would only be the senior officers who would have training that would require being away from home too much. So things like that. Her famous photo shooting a gun in an Ao Dai, and we have that on display in a monitor. The photo that went viral was all around the world, shows her, one eye is kind of shut
Aiming.
as she's aiming. It looks like she knows what she's doing. When you look at the whole series of photos, there's a recoil, and there's someone who holds her. She puts her hand in front of her face, or one hand in front of her face, because the other, as the gun comes down,
She's giggling.
She's giggling. It's clearly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, that dragon lady stereotype.
But they only captured that one photo.
They only
Exactly.
used that one
yeah,
photo.
that's why
Yep.
it's made her the dragon lady.
Exactly. But when you look at the whole series, it kind of proves a point that this was not a customary role.
No.
And this was something that you had to be trained to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Her daughter went through the training. Her daughter told reporters in the United States that she loved to shoot, that she loved guns, and that she was ready. But it took months of training.
So how was it like the reception from the people of Vietnam at the time, women versus men, with what she wanted to do? Do we have records of that, of the like how people receive it?
Well, the
Did they,
number
the
of
women listen?
Yeah, women enlisted in the
Yes.
Women's Paramilitary Corps.
Okay.
There were, multiple ranks of officers, and they did training for a couple of years until the coup.
Right.
So it was heated. It was, people did listen to the message, but the men, it was later disbanded after the coup,
Right.
and it's now treated as a sort of like afterthought. It's often treated as a vanity project, and same thing with Madame Ngu's family laws, right? She actually pushed through, sponsored, wrote, and pushed through a family law. And of course, in the history books, this banned divorce and dancing and gambling and prostitution and all these various things that kind of made her sound like a killjoy. Right, she's preventing people from dancing or singing. But that said, like if you read the documents, there was a vision in it of some kind of respect for women, right? Doing away with concubinage. And but the history books has been very derogatory in the way that they have described this law.
But it includes outlawing polygamy.
Yes.
Which is really important.
Yes.
And her, as she talked about this law, the ban on divorce, which was seen as her imposing a certain vision of Catholicism, perhaps, on the entire country. If we think about what happens in divorce in Vietnam to women's status, where money, what happens to money? Children, where do the children wind up? They don't go with their mom. So she saw this as a real loss of status for women. So banning divorce was a way of protecting that status.
And same thing with concubinage or polygamy, right? In a old school Vietnamese family where a man would have multiple wives, the first wife would dominate over all the other wives. Children born to the second, third, fourth wives are often given to the first wife to raise. It's a very hierarchical kind of system in which women were often put in a position that they did not want to be in. And so for her, the banning of polygamy and concubinage was, one way of looking at it is imposing a kind of Catholic monogamy or a Christian monogamy upon Vietnam. But there was also another way of looking at it, was that it was about women's status in the modern Vietnam.
Right. Yeah.
And all of this, she would also say, was because Vietnam was at war. And during wartime, dancing, things like that, need to be secondary to building the strength of the nation and defending it. And we see similar things happening in the DRV in terms of what it means to mobilize for a war effort.
Wow. She is, how should we say it? Very modern, very progressive. No?
In a certain way, I mean, she's also incredibly verbally skilled
Yeah.
and very
French,
good.
English.
French,
French is her first language.
Okay.
Vietnamese. Her English is very good. As I looked at videos of her giving the various talks in the United States, which were prepared remarks.
Right.
So she had the chance to practice them. Her English is quite strong. However, in exchanges and Q&A, her daughter would often act as translator to explain things. She learned English when she was in a convent in Hong Kong, right?
Kong.
In the 1950s?
I think it was the 50s, yeah.
After an episode where, again, she maybe had said too much. And she winds up in a convent in Hong Kong for a while. Am I getting the story right?
That's supposedly that was the story, that
Yeah.
they needed her out of town. Yes. But that said, French was her first language. English was her third language.
Right.
And so she was very verbally skilled, as Anne-Marie said. But also, going back to your sort of original question of was she progressive and modern, I think she was modern. I don't know if I would say progressive. She was actually quite conservative in certain respects. But that said, let's just say she had a vision for women's roles in this new post-colonial Vietnamese republic.
Right.
Yeah.
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 That's basically it.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a progressive feminism that I would rally behind personally? No.
No.
But in the context, there are elements of it that I don't think have been taken seriously enough.
Yes.
And that,
Absolutely.
again, is the garments have invited us to think about the person wearing them
Right.
and what her program was and what she was trying to do.
Right. And a lot of like what we are saying here, we want to do an even deeper dive
Yes.
into the Women's Paramilitary
Right.
Corps and, into the family laws. Because, we have encountered documents in which she goes in front of the Vietnamese National Assembly arguing with men about these family laws, right? And we want to do a deeper dive into that and really figure out like what's happening here.
Yeah, because the impression given in the kind of history of the time is often about how this was just jammed through, and because the Diem regime was authoritarian, everybody just kind of did what they were supposed to do. But there were debates and there were conversations. There were people signing on to this agenda.
Wow. Okay. Next áo dài. The green one. Do we have it here?
This one,
Right here.
Yes.
This is one of my favorites.
Me too.
Why?
So, for me, first of all, I love the color.
Minty color.
Yeah.
Celadon.
Yes.
Celadon.
Yeah.
And I sometimes refer to it as kind of a sea foam.
Yes, sea foam.
I like the combination of the flower with the long petals, but then the linear swirl, as opposed to an embroidery here of the cloud.
Yeah.
This one is a bit more abstract.
Right.
I also was very taken with the fact that this is the garment that she wore when she had lunch with Senator Ted Kennedy in Belgrade. He was attending the Interparliamentary Union meeting as well. He was a senator from the U.S., younger brother of President Kennedy. At the time, there is a lot of tension between the two governments, and she knows that the United States has basically said that it would not stand up against a coup against Diem's government. And so she, through the intervention of another U.S. representative, has lunch with Teddy Kennedy, who doesn't really seem to want to have lunch with her, but does. And there is a photo of them
Yes.
talking with her making a gesture. as she's to emphasize a point, it seems, and that was front page news across the United States.
Oh my God.
And and then he said something about how he listened, and that got spun in the U.S. media that she gave him an earful. So this idea of a woman who's just talking, and the man can't get away. Reportedly, President Kennedy said that that was the first time that his younger brother had been mousetrapped since he'd been in college.
Oh my God.
So this idea that he was a captive audience to this charming but probably dangerous woman and her words and her points of view.
Yeah, so one thing, to sort of begin a theme through
Yeah.
a lot of these auzai is the sort of hostile press
Yes.
landscape
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
she faced when she was on this trip to the U.S. The American press were eager to take the most provocative interpretation of her, right? Calling her the Dragon Lady, describing her in very sort of sexist and Orientalist terms, right? Talking about how seductive she was, power hungry, right? Talking about her talons.
Yes.
This kind of language is incredibly inflammatory, right? And it was designed to portray her in the most scandalous and provocative light.
Right.
And so this kind of tailed her throughout the entire trip.
Right. Editorial cartoons showing her in a garment that's not really an aoyai, more like a cheongsam, without pants, slit all the way, like things like that. So a highly sexualized and racialized depiction of her.
Wow. But then these were all American press. What about Homeland press?
The Homeland Press, the Homeland.
She didn't try to defend herself? She didn't try to... Nothing?
Well, every time she defended herself, it just fed the fire.
Exactly. Duh.
She couldn't say anything right? Every time she sort of tries to explain herself, there's more evidence that she's this cartoonish character.
Yes. But like in Vietnam,
But also-
Việt Nam thì sao? Báo Việt
They're
Nam?
largely controlled by the government.
Yeah. So there are a number of mouthpieces for the Diem government. For example, the Times of Vietnam, and there's a number of these, and they were all pro Madame U. But of course, everybody knew it was a pro Diem newspaper.
Yes.
So in domestically, her coverage was glowing, but glowing for a particular reason.
Wow. I really wish, well, definitely we can, but like, could you imagine if we meet her and we actually see her and see her like giggle,
I mean, we have like photos of her sort of giggling, and like photos of her kind of being playful,
Yeah.
right? Where, for example, like she had a house in Dalat where she said she spent the happiest years of her life,
Oh.
right? And there are photos of her. I mean, granted, there was a photo shoot, right?
Right.
But, that's where she played, you have her photos of her playing darts, photos of her kind of like leaning her head on her husband's shoulder. Like, there were sort of these like kind of lighter moments of her, but again, these are photo shoots and we don't know if those were staged or, yeah.
Yeah, I think of her as a woman of great strength and determination and generally pretty serious.
Yes. Yes.
I think
Because
that's,
of the position she's in.
well, and I also think she was driven. She had
Yeah.
a sense of herself as destined
Yeah.
to be powerful.
That's right. That's right. And she wasn't afraid to wield it.
Right.
Yeah.
She described her childhood as unhappy, being the unwanted second daughter.
Yeah. And yeah, she, in her memoirs, she described herself as a white pebble that God has picked up. Right. So there was a very strong sense of like Zuyin for her that she was going to be great one day.
Yeah.
Or because of not wanted, and now she has the position that she's in, she want to show or prove that she can be just as important. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think she always. This is one of the things that sort of confounds us about her, right? She is outspoken. She would say outrageous things, right? Controversial, offensive, outrageous things.
Yes.
But always, you got a sense that she was always herself.
Yeah.
And she always had a sense of like, she was, throughout her life, always never kind of, I don't think she apologized for anything.
No.
No.
Oh, there was. There's one moment. It's a sorry, not sorry kind of apology.
Yeah.
Where she says it's. What is it? We'll come back. I'll
We'll come
remember.
back. Yeah.
we'll come back.
But
Let's-
there was a moment where
Yeah.
she basically said, "It's sort of when you say that your fault isn't really, it's not really a flaw."
Yeah.
like the barbecue.
Yeah.
Not
We get layers of rationalization going on
Yeah.
with that.
right.
Yeah.
I will also say that as we get into 1963 and the Buddhist crisis and the things that she is saying that are igniting a media firestorm, we see ways in which she's characterizing why this movement isn't about an assertion of religious freedom. She's arguing that Buddhists are not actually prevented from practicing Buddhism, that this is an extremist movement. It's been infiltrated by communists, and they have duped, they have brainwashed their certain followers into acts of suicide. As she's making these claims, these characterizations then sort of get picked up, and we see Niu saying them, we see Ziem saying some of these characterizations that she is kind of saying first. So one of the things that I would like to research more is some of the behind the scenes creation of press releases and statements and how where this language is coming from and how it travels throughout the highest ranks of the regime. So I get the feeling that she's putting out there certain ideas and then they get picked up.
Yeah.
Going back to this Aozai, though,
Yeah.
what I find fascinating about this green Aozai, if you can see
Yes.
up close on the cloud embroidery, you could actually see the pencil marks of where the embroiderer had originally intended the embroidery to go.
Straight across.
It was originally intended to go kind of down,
Yeah.
right? If you look at it kind of, and you can see that they had made an executive decision at some point to kind of sweep the curve up. And this actually gives us a really, a really fascinating little like piece of information that tells us about the embroidery or the embroidery process, right? You can imagine that the original plan was for the embroidery to kind of sweep down, and you can sort of imagine like a scenario in which Madame Niu tries this on, and she was like, nope, I don't want it to sweep down. I want it to sweep up. I want it to create that S curve, right?
Yeah.
And actually, it gives us insights into when the garment was embroidered. It tells us at least that the garment was embroidered after tailoring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell that it's after tailoring by the side stitching. Khi mà cái hem này nó luôn nè, là khi mà
Right.
bây giờ
Yes.
nó luôn nó thêu lên trên cái luôn luôn. That's why it's after.
Yes.
Còn nếu mà mình thêu trước xong rồi mình mới luôn thì mình sẽ thấy nó đó.
Yeah.
Và cái này là có nghĩa là may xong rồi mới vẽ mấy cái lằn này rồi mới thêu. Thì nếu mà thật sự thêu mà theo cái đường vẽ trước đó thì nó sẽ bị giống như là nó bị ngang. Nó sẽ cắt kind of like cut you in half.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
She does have an eye. Or whoever
Yes.
decided to do that, make that decision to go up, because then it makes a difference, right?
And
I
that
love
she
that.
decided to wear the garment even with the visible pencil line
Right.
of where it hasn't been embroidered.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's last through all these years.
We can
That
still
pencil
see
mark.
the pencil marks.
Yeah.
Which is why
That
folks.
is amazing.
Yeah, which is why, folks, you gotta see the exhibition in real life.
Yes.
And if something happened, if you get a garment and there's a mark or there's something, it tells time. It's characteristic.
Right.
Don't try to erase it.
Yeah.
Right? It's history.
It's part of the history of the
Yes.
garment.
To return to the pink one, right above the waist,
Yes.
there is what
One line.
looks like it could have been salvaged, but isn't because it's not at the end of the fabric. So I don't know if that's an imperfection from weaving, but it's another moment where I was like, oh,
It's interesting.
that's something that one could say is a flaw.
yeah.
And it's a garment that she continued to wear. I had a question for you actually about the pink one. The motif on the brocade could be pine, could be bamboo.
Bamboo.
You think it's bamboo?
I think it's bamboo. Yeah. Why?
I was leaning toward pine
Really?
because of the leaves looked a bit shorter, denser,
Yeah.
and the stalk of the tree, of the plant.
Yeah. Well, I see it to go on theme.
Yeah.
It will be the double happiness, the cloud, and bamboo,
Right.
right? As the Asian in me. But it does look like pine.
Yeah.
Like one. Hồi xưa ở Việt Nam mình á, mà mình đi mà mình thấy một cái cây mà màu xanh mà cái lá nó giống như vậy nè, mình hay lấy nó về mình ép vô trong tập á. Because it's flat.
Right.
The leaves look like this. So I could see why you see that.
Yeah.
But I think this is, for me, I think it's like a bamboo. Yeah. But I like
Because I've asked a number of people. Si Wang thought he couldn't distinguish. He said it could be bamboo or it could be pine. And pine, because it grows through hardship and lasts. And it is also a significant symbolic plant.
It's a question we don't have an answer.
And
I
given
know.
that she said being in Dalat was some of the happiest time of her life,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was leaning toward pine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are pine trees in Dalat.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are.
Yeah.
Now let's go to this bright and vibrant orange. Oh yeah,
Another one of my favorites.
it's very Hermes.
I love this one.
Yes.
Remember earlier when I was talking about the creation of a mid-century modern Vietnamese aesthetic?
Yeah.
This encapsulates a kind of like, I don't know, Vietnamese atomic age kind of vibe about it. These kinds of motifs
Yeah.
were incredibly popular in the period. This was mid-century modern Vietnam.
I can see light sculpture. I can see
Right.
chandelier.
Yep,
I can
exactly.
see, yeah.
The Sputnik chandelier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
so popular,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that has been revived in modern times.
When did she wear this? This is February.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she wore it in February '63, paramilitary corps. Her youngest child, her daughter, Lê Thuy, Lê Nguyen, is with her, while Lê Thuy is a member of the Women's Paramilitary Corps and is the valedictorian
Wow.
of that class. So there are wonderful photos of Madame Nhu in this garment, giving a speech, bestowing the flag on the valedictorian, her daughter. And her youngest in a kind of para-commando outfit
So cute.
during the ceremony.
So cute. This was also 3/4 sleeves.
Yes.
Yes.
And she does have her brooch at in the middle
Yes,
as well.
yes. And then she wears it during the trip. And most famously, she gives a press conference at the Republic Embassy in Rome. And this is where she has photos of some of the self-immolations and the protests. And she says that the monks have been drugged, the monks who are committing suicide by self-immolation. They have been drugged or they have been beaten unconscious with hammers before their deaths. and lots of press coverage of this moment. This is one place where her appearance is then joined with her remarks in order to dismiss them or belittle them. She is characterized as engaging in repartee as pointed as her lacquered fingernails. So again, this kind of fierce dragon lady image. The color.
Color. I was going to
Of
ask
the
you about the
garment.
color.
It's a saffron yellow, like a monk's
Very
robe.
similar.
So I think that's intentional.
That's why the reason I asked is when was this? Because
Yeah.
it could be the color of Tết, like after Tết, cái màu của mùa xuân, cái màu nó rực rỡ. But then when you told me that,
Yeah.
it had a very coincident
Yeah.
or purposeful.
I mean, it's to go back to some of the symbols on her garment. Again, she is Catholic. She converts to Catholicism when she marries New. But the symbols, they're Confucian, they're Taoist, there are Buddhist symbols in her garments. And so I think she is deliberately
Yeah.
using the same color
Yes.
as a monk's robe
Yes.
in order to assert that this is a pluralistic nation in which there is religious freedom. That is her claim.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. No, but that said, it is also a nation that has joined the modern world of autonomous nations as well, right? With its own aesthetic, with its own sense of like nationhood, right? Because, you know, this garment is very much a sort of assertion, right, of a Vietnamese identity on the global stage.
Yeah. And there's fascinating current scholarship on the Buddhist crisis that is also, you know, was it about religious freedom? Was it about religious nationalism? Some of the most recent arguments are that the Diem regime, in having religious freedom, so the regime did not have a state religion. We have a lot of Catholics in positions of leadership for a variety of reasons, but it wasn't clear what the unifying ideology of the regime was. There was this idea of personalism, which was a sort of Catholic inflected with a certain communitarianism that rejected materialism of capitalism and communism simultaneously. But it didn't really take hold as an ideology that would unify people. So you have different kinds of religiously inflected nationalism, such as Buddhist nationalism, that is also making claims to being modernist. And that seems to be a key element of the Buddhist unrest during 1963. So again, I kind of see her as taking on some iconography from some of these different religious traditions in order to try to say that the Republic is representing these various kinds of religious traditions in its own nationalism.
Right, right. Bao nhiêu cái câu chuyện mà Tina với Anne-Marie kể đó, thì thứ nhất nha, bây giờ mình nói trở lại đi, cái tên của bà Madame New là Trần Lệ Xuân, và Thái Nguyễn nghe hai người mention là thứ nhất là người con lớn là Lệ Thủy, người con nhỏ là Lệ Quyên. Cái tên rất là đẹp, tất cả những cái tên đều đẹp nha. Lệ Xuân, Lệ Thủy, Lệ Quyên. Còn ai trong gia đình nữa? Tất cả mọi người trong một cái gia đình của Ngô Đình Như và Trần Lệ Xuân thì còn có những người con là tên gì?
Thì những người con của Trần Lệ Xuân với Ngô Đình Nhu là tổng cộng có 4 người. Thì là con cả là con gái là Ngô Đình Lệ Thủy. Là Lệ Thủy thì sanh vào thời chiến tranh bùng nổ. Thì bà có kể trong hồi ký của bà đó là chạy giặc mà mang con gái theo. Thì bà có một cái relationship rất là thân mật với con gái. Và con gái lớn này là kiểu như là heir to the, you know, bà ấy coi con gái này như là thừa kế của bà ấy. Thì khi bà ấy đi sang Mỹ thì mang cô gái này theo, là Ngô Đình Lệ Thủy, đó là con lớn. Rồi sau đấy là bà có sanh ở Đà Lạt, khi bà đang ở Đà Lạt thì sanh 2 người con trai, thì là Ngô Đình Trác với Ngô Đình Quỳnh. Và con út của bà là Ngô Đình Lệ Quyên. Mà khi bà đang ở Mỹ thì con gái đấy thì khoảng 4 tuổi thì còn rất là nhỏ. Ngô Đình Lệ Quyên á, thì cũng có để lại hồi ký kể chuyện về mẹ của mình, về gia đình của mình. Thì bà tổng cộng có 4 người con.
Là 4 người con đó là bây giờ ai còn sống và ai mất rồi?
Hiện giờ theo mình biết á, thì chỉ có còn một người là Ngô Đình Quỳnh còn sống. Ngô Đình Lệ Thủy với Ngô Đình Lệ Quyên.
Ngô Đình Lệ
Hai con gái lớn và con gái út á, thì tử vong trong tai nạn xe cộ.
Wow, tội nghiệp quá.
And Ngô Đình Lệ Thủy thì mới có 20 mấy tuổi thì bị đụng xe xong rồi chết ở Pháp.
Năm 68.
Năm 68. Còn Ngô Đình Lệ Quyên á, thì năm 2012 thì lái xe Vespa đi làm rồi bị tử vong trong tai nạn Vespa ở Rome. Thì gần như là 45 năm đến ngày là của chị của mình mất á, thì Ngô Đình Lệ Quyên bị mất luôn.
Mà cả hai đều là bị tai nạn xe.
Cả hai. Thì còn Ngô Đình Trác á, thì tôi cũng có nghe là cũng đã mất trong vòng mấy năm nay thôi. Còn một người còn lại là Ngô Đình Quỳnh.
Và Ngô Đình Quỳnh bây giờ là bao nhiêu tuổi ta?
Mình cũng không có rõ, nhưng mà theo internet thì ông ta thì đang sống ở bên châu Âu. Mà lâu lâu cũng khi có ngày giỗ của Tổng thống Diệm thì ông ta cũng có mặt. Và cũng có nói vài câu vào những cái buổi giỗ của Tổng thống Diệm với ông Nhung.
Và bà Nhu mất năm mấy? Lúc đó bao nhiêu tuổi?
Lệ Quyên mất 2012, một năm sau khi mẹ mất. Thì bà Nhu thì mất năm 2011.
Wow.
Tại nhà của bà ở Roma.
Wow. Và nguyên cái bộ collection này thì là ai là người giữ cái bộ collection này mà xong rồi trao lại cho anh Tường?
Đó là con rể của bà, là nghĩa là chồng của Ngô Đình Lệ Quyên, là ông Orlando Borsoi đã cho anh Tường mượn bộ sưu tầm áo dài này. Và sau đấy thì đến tay của Holy Cross.
Nhưng mà mình có biết tại sao mà anh Tường lại cái ông Orlando mà biết anh Tường mà giao cho cái bộ sưu tập, mình có biết không?
Anh Tường hình như có một người học trò mà có quen với gia đình. Thì qua cái connection đó, thì ông Borsoi có gửi cho anh Tường bộ sưu tầm áo dài.
Ok, wow. Mà mình nghĩ là ông ta sẽ tới cái buổi triển lãm này để xem không?
Mình rất là mong và mình rất là muốn là đưa gia đình của bà Nhu đến một cái private tour của cái triển lãm này. Đó là một điều rất là mình mong muốn.
Have we reached out? Okay.
Yes.
Mà mình chưa có câu trả lời.
Họ có đáng lẽ là họ đến, nhưng mà tại vì có một số vấn đề xuất bản cái hồi ký của bà Nhu đó thì họ không có đến được.
But maybe from now until December.
Yeah, no, we have time. I think that we will.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
That would be like a full circle moment for the family. To see all this in this light. Right?
Yes. And for us, like we are really, really grateful to the families of everyone who has entrusted us with their family treasures and their family archives. And and we are so grateful for everyone's sort of generosity in loaning us these.
All of these stories that you we only been through to half of it. We're gonna do. Quý vị, cái này là cái cuộc trò chuyện về những cái bộ áo dài của bà Nhu là chỉ có một phần hôm nay thôi. Rồi mình sẽ có phần 2 để mình nói về phía bên kia nha quý vị. Bên đây là mình chỉ nãy giờ là mình nói là khoảng 6 bộ, là cái phần 2 của những bộ áo dài bà Nhu, là sẽ còn 5 bộ nữa. và mình còn những cái trang sức của bà Nhu nữa. Thật sự ra là những cái câu chuyện này đó, all these stories là do Anne-Marie và Martina nghiên cứu và tìm ra những cái câu chuyện này, hay là mình đọc từ hồi ký của bà Nhu, hay là mình đã có nghe từ gia đình tận tai không?
Tất cả.
Nhưng về bao nhiêu phần lớn mà mình nghiên cứu là tại trung tâm lưu trữ, tại Mỹ và tại Việt Nam.
Tại Việt Nam.
Và cũng tạp chí, tờ báo.
Mà tất cả những cái câu chuyện này là đã nghiên cứu trong 3 năm.
Trong 3 năm.
Trong 3 năm. Từ khi ngài nhận được bộ sưu tập áo dài của bà Nhu.
Không, được tin có bộ sưu tầm áo dài của bà Nhu.
Vậy là khi nào, lúc nào mới tận tay nhận được áo dài?
Oh.
So we first saw them in person.
We saw them in
a
person.
couple of them.
So you know, we asked Tường
Yeah.
to bring a few examples to. There's an annual Asian Studies conference every year, and that year was held in Boston, right? No, Seattle.
Seattle.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, that year was held in Seattle, and so we said, Tường, we're all going to be in Seattle. Can you please bring a couple of Madame Yu's áo
Which one did he
dài
bring?
for us to see?
So the gray one.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I think ones that we don't have on exhibition.
Yes.
He brought ones that looked like they would travel okay.
Yeah.
So the gray one is of a thicker material.
Yeah.
We did not see
No,
any of these.
we
at
didn't
that time.
see any of those.
But we'd seen photos of them.
Yeah, and so for us, like we were all like in Boston looking at these historical artifacts, and we just afterwards like Anne
mean in
Marie and I-
Seattle?
Oh, sorry. Seattle, I keep forgetting. Yeah, we were in Seattle, and having seen these artifacts, we just keep pinching each other. Like,
Right.
we saw her outside.
Yeah, I ran into a colleague on the street a few minutes after leaving the room where we'd seen them. And these are charismatic objects. I mean, again, that is why I'm so excited about this exhibition. Worn garments that are historically significant carry those traces, and they have a kind of aura surrounding them. And so I ran into a colleague on the street. I was like, I just have to tell you what I just saw. And he's also a scholar of Vietnam, and he was like, that's wonderful. But you could tell he was also like, okay.
Why are you so excited? No, I can tell you, I can share you my story is that because I have changed and shift my identity right up during COVID to just solely strongly focus on the áo dài, right? And then right after the moments of Kelly Marie Tran where the áo dài became this viral moment, then one of the she's not even my customer. She's just an acquaintance that we wouldn't have never met in person. We just through publication báo Người Việt. She's at báo Người Việt. Chị Ngọc. Chị Ngọc mới liên lạc với email cho Thái nói là chị có một cái thông tin là có một giáo sư Tường Vũ có bộ sưu tập những bộ áo dài original của Madame Nhu. Và ảnh thì ảnh nghĩ là sẽ trình bày ở báo Người Việt ở Little Sài Gòn. Chị muốn liên lạc với em, thử coi em có thể giúp để mà trưng bày những cái bộ này. Thì trong lúc đó đó là Thái đang có cái plan là làm về cái phim tài liệu về áo dài, áo dài documentary. Xong rồi Thái mới ngay lập tức nói chị Ngọc là chị ơi, em nghĩ là maybe mình nên đợi một tí xíu, mình khoan hãy là trưng bày ở báo Người Việt. Có thể là em sẽ có một cái project là về cái phim tài liệu về áo dài, thì cái này có thể là một cái phần đầu của cái phim đó. Thì chị giới thiệu em với giáo sư Tường Vũ đi, rồi xong rồi liên lạc với nhau. Thì có email qua lại, Thái có email qua lại với Tường Vũ, rồi cũng gửi hình cho xem và Thái cũng xem. Xong rồi Thái gửi thì cái quá trình mà làm phim tài liệu documentary, you know how it evolves and it takes time.
Absolutely.
The thing, I think I reached out to Tường Vũ like 2 years ago when we heard the news. I heard the news that he has the áo dài too. I think same time with you guys. And I present the idea to my producer, and they were very excited. But then the story changed, it's evolved, and then we decided to shift the timeline is really from the Vietnamese diaspora going forwards. So we're not touching the history because that was not my time and it's not my story to tell, and I don't think we can do justice for it. Giống như mình có nghĩ là có thể là Thái sẽ không có đủ cái kiến thức để mà mình nói lại cái lịch sử của áo dài, mà mình cũng không có cái thời gian để mà mình đủ thời gian để mình nghiên cứu về cái lịch sử của áo dài trong cái thời đại đó, cho nên và cái câu chuyện, cái phim tài liệu của Thái nó cũng không có đi về cái hướng đó nữa, cho nên là cứ để vậy luôn, on hold, không có như là không có liên lạc tiếp với anh Tường về cái này. Xong bởi vậy Thái nói là trên cuộc đời này tất cả nó đều là duyên nha, tất cả nó đều là like you say charisma, right? Một cái duyên mình không có cần phải ở trên nó sắp đặt hết rồi, trên trời sắp đặt hết rồi. Tự nhiên là Thái nghĩ là Thái sẽ làm cái gì đó với bộ sưu tập này, nhưng là Thái lại không thể làm được. Tự nhiên một ngày đẹp trời nhận được email của Martina. Là Martina nói là có một cái buổi triển lãm làm cái này với bộ sưu tập của áo dài của bà Nhu. And I nói, oh, great, at least there is một cái ngôi nhà để mà mình có thể giới thiệu những cái bộ áo dài này. Tại vì Thái không làm được, Thái mong sẽ có một người làm được. Nhưng mà khi mà Thái nghe Martina nói và làm việc với lại Anne-Marie, lúc đó Thái chưa có gặp cô Anne-Marie, mà làm cho trường đại học Holy Cross, xong rồi Thái nghĩ cái này, Thái nghĩ là đúng là cái nơi để làm, là tại vì at least nó không phải là trong một cái hội trường nho nhỏ, nó là một cái nơi Thái nghĩ nó sẽ rất là trân trọng, đúng không? Nó rất là phải nói là hay lộn cái chữ mà giống như là hài hòa đó, phải không? Nó sẽ rất là hài hòa, một cái nơi sẽ rất đúng cho những cái bộ áo dài này. Thì xong rồi tự nhiên là Thái cứ nghĩ ok mà khi nào sẽ có cái buổi triển lãm này, Thái cũng ủng hộ. Xong rồi nhưng mà cái câu chuyện này khi mà Thái đọc cái email á, là nói là sẽ có những bộ áo dài của bà Nhu, Thái đã mừng rồi. Xong rồi bà Tina nói là một cái chặng đường đi là từ trước năm 54 phải không, xong rồi đi cho tới thời bây giờ luôn, và sẽ muốn có một cái bộ áo dài của Thái thời bây giờ ở trong cái buổi triển lãm. Thì ngay lập tức Thái nói cái này nó rất là phù hợp nè, cái này nó sẽ rất là ok nè. Xong rồi cái là không nghĩ gì hết, em Thiên cũng không có nghĩ gì hết trơn nha. I didn't really think of it or think of anything of it until I get back to you. And then I was like, I would love to be part of this. I will ship the áo dài to you. And I didn't even think, I couldn't even imagine how you're gonna set this up either. And I didn't even ask you how you're gonna set this up. Right? Xong rồi, it happened that she was in Orange County. And then we met up for lunch. And then she told me the story. I think you briefly told me all the stories. And that got me excited. And I was like, what are you gonna do with these after this exhibition? Is there anything like who's capturing this story? And then Martina's like, nobody. And I was like, can I?
Well, no, and then now this bây giờ thì Thái có duyên với cái áo dài này.
Exactly.
Right?
Xong rồi tự nhiên can I, và tự nhiên cái duyên nó đưa đẩy Thái tới đây và có một cái cuộc. Và bây giờ là không những là Thái được xem, Thái được nghe những cái câu chuyện về cái áo dài này, bây giờ Thái đang ngồi trước mặt những cái bộ áo dài này, phải không? Rồi xong rồi là tự nhiên cái Martina một ngày đẹp trời gửi cho Thái 2 cái tấm hình sau khi là đã set up xong hết rồi, thì nổi da gà. Thiệt, nghĩ tới là nổi da gà. Là tại vì cái sự trưng bày nó quá là professional, nó quá là đẹp, nó quá là phải nói là tầm cỡ mà giống như là quốc tế. Mình nghĩ đây là một cái gallery lớn mà. Thì tự nhiên mình thấy cái bộ áo dài của bà Nhu, rồi mình thấy Và xong rồi Martina còn nói với Thái là Thái đi vô cái triển lãm và cuối cái triển lãm sẽ là áo dài của Thái. Like Thái nghĩ là trong cái cuộc đời của mình đó, khi mà gia đình quyết định đi qua bên nước ngoài, qua Mỹ năm 1993, thì dĩ nhiên trước đó là 1980 là ngày là khi Thái mới sanh ra đó, thì có bác là làm giấy tờ để bảo lãnh, phải không? Thì mình không có nghĩ là 1993 mình đi qua Mỹ là mình không biết mình sẽ như thế nào. Mình chỉ biết là go to America, the land of the opportunity. Bà nội và ba mẹ, Thái là con một, only child, so bà nội và ba mẹ cứ nghĩ là đi qua nước ngoài, đi qua Mỹ để cho Thái có một cái tương lai khác. Thì không biết là mình sẽ làm gì. Mà bây giờ mình ở là Việt Nam thì cũng không biết sẽ làm gì. Mà tự nhiên mình sẽ không biết làm gì để mà mình có thể mình vô một cái lịch sử, một cái tên của mình đã được đánh dấu trong lịch sử, phải không? Xong rồi mình đi qua nước ngoài, mình quyết định mình trở thành nhà thiết kế thời trang. Bao nhiêu năm mình làm, mình muốn vô cái thị trường Mỹ, nhưng mà xong rồi mình cũng không có được cái sự chấp nhận giống như mình mong muốn. Rồi mình cũng không biết là mình sẽ được vô cái thị trường, mình vượt vô cái dấu ấn lịch sử của thị trường thời trang ở nước Mỹ. Mình cũng không biết, mình cũng không biết có được hay không. Nhưng mà tới ngày hôm nay thì Thái Nguyễn phải chia sẻ thật tận đáy lòng của Thái Nguyễn đó, là mình rất là biết ơn. Không biết trời trên trời bên trên sắp xếp làm sao đó, mà cái tên Thái Nguyễn nó lại được đi vô cái lịch sử theo là một nhà thiết kế Việt Nam ở hải ngoại. Mà để được cái đánh dấu là tên Thái Nguyễn được vô cái lịch sử của thời trang Việt Nam hải ngoại đó, thì là nhờ cái buổi triển lãm này thì Thái lại có được cái đó. Thế seriously, tại vì bây giờ không có cái triển lãm này thì làm sao được có cái dấu ấn đó. So this is not, cái buổi triển lãm này nó không phải là nó kể là những cái câu chuyện đó quý vị, mà nó là một cái nơi đã đánh dấu, là một cái kỷ niệm mà Thái nghĩ là trong cuộc đời của Thái là nó rất là quý báu. Yeah. Và I just want to thank you too. And anh Tường.
Wow.
For because anh Tường không có ở đây, nhưng mà anh Tường là người có thể là vì có những cái bộ sưu tập này mà nó đã nảy sinh ra, phải không? Ra một cái buổi triển lãm mà Thái nghĩ là nó rất là có ý nghĩa. Và lý do tại sao mà Thái mới nói sơ qua với lại Martina trong lúc ngồi ăn bún nước lèo Sóc Trăng, bánh tằm mì với thịt heo quay. Nói sơ thôi thì ai ngờ là Martina ok, và Martina nói chuyện với Anne-Marie và Lauren, và ngày hôm nay ngồi đây nói chuyện mà phải nói là vô cùng hạnh phúc và vô cùng biết ơn.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, everything is deserved, right? Like, you know, đối với Martina đó là một người Việt Nam hải ngoại, là cái áo dài đó không những là một, mình sẽ nói thêm khi mình nói về áo dài ở trong cộng đồng hải ngoại, nhưng mà một cái rất là quan trọng là cái áo dài của mình á, là không có mình đã mang cái áo dài đó từ Việt Nam sang nước Mỹ khi mình đi di cư, sang khắp mọi nơi. Khi người Việt Nam đi đâu mang cái văn hóa, mang cái áo dài đi, thì nhưng mà cái đó không có phải là chặng đường cuối cùng của cái lịch sử của cái áo dài. Cái áo dài đó có một cái lịch sử ở trong cái cộng đồng Việt Nam hải ngoại, và mình phải nêu lên những cái đóng góp của cộng đồng Việt Nam hải ngoại vào cái lịch sử của áo dài Việt Nam. Và Thái Nguyễn có một cái đã làm một cái contribution, right? Rất là lớn cho cái
đóng góp nhỏ thôi.
Đóng góp mình thấy là to lớn trong lịch sử áo dài. Thì it is deserved.
Thank you. Thank you. No, but it's just like I think it's full circle. It's full circle, and I'm very fulfilled mentally and physically, and it's truly an inspiring experience. Tại vì có những cái thông tin là Thái Nguyễn có thể là mình học hoặc là mình biết, nhưng mà mình không có biết nhiều, cái chi tiết đến nỗi là ngày chỉ có cái walk through với cái cuộc nói chuyện này mà Thái Nguyễn đã học được rất nhiều, đã nghe được rất nhiều luôn. Thì biết đâu là từ cái Việt Nam hải ngoại này, mình bây giờ là Thái Nguyễn nghĩ là mình cũng phần là trẻ nữa, và mình hy vọng là những bạn trẻ sẽ xem cái này, sẽ nghe cái này và sẽ tạo ra một cái nguồn cảm hứng mới
Yes.
cho tất cả bạn trẻ đó có thể làm hơn Thái nữa, đi xa hơn nữa. You know, sau Thái Nguyễn sẽ còn rất nhiều bạn nữa. Bạn Nguyễn, bạn Lê, bạn Trần, bạn you know. Yeah. So that's all. That's the reason tại sao mà Thái Nguyễn muốn làm cái tường, giống như là tường thuật lại những cái câu chuyện này, muốn thâu lại những cái câu chuyện này. Và cảm ơn Anne-Marie và Tina rất là nhiều. Mặc dầu là Anne-Marie đang rất mệt nha quý vị. Mệt tại vì sáng sớm 4 giờ sáng thức dậy chạy marathon đó.
Edit that part.
Yeah, no, I'm truly grateful.
Thank you, Thái.
Yes. Và bây giờ cái này chỉ có 1/3 thôi nha quý vị. Sẽ còn nữa, còn phần 4, phần 5 và phần 6 nữa. Quý vị hãy nhớ đón xem nha. Xin cảm ơn quý vị rất nhiều và bye bye. Hẹn gặp lại. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow my channel for new contents. Thank you so much.